Alright, just a little bit of data analysis for today, and we can see our 6 runs pretty easily. Different kind of course than we saw at the firm, and some really good information here that leads me to believe that running this event was very important, because I think I've come up with a bit of a flaw in my water injection tuning, in that in this kind of course, the short course with closer obstacles and less straightaways, the system, I believe, is not engaging nearly enough. And you can see our heat climb throughout the day. You can see the cooling after the run, especially after run 2. And this is an interesting little note here, in that after run 2, I ended up purging the Megasquirt system. So basically, while idling and cracking the throttle open a little bit, gave it a couple squirts to get, just to see if there was air in the lines or anything like that. But doing that lowered the manifold temperatures in between runs. That may be something I end up doing in between runs. Just something to think about for the future. But the overall climb of temperatures is a little bit worrisome, and I personally did not seem to notice the system engaging very much. It's very hard to notice the system engaging. I may in fact wire up that LED light somewhere into the gauge cluster to try and get a better idea of when that is happening. We climbed to a height of 177. Not nearly the 190 that we once peaked at, and made me very worried at that early Regency event, but it's still much higher than I would like to see. Okay, so zooming in on run number 5 here, up top we've got red throttle position and white RPM. On 2 we've got boost, that's a calculated boost, so we're more looking at the line than we are the actual numbers. Number 3, or line number 3, this is AFRs. And number 4 is the manifold air temperature. So we start the run at 125. We end the run at, like I said, about I think, yeah, this is definitely the end of the run. So 178 is where we end. It does come back down to the 127s eventually, but that's higher than I want to see. So I think what I notice is that due to the nature of, look at the throttle inputs on a course like this. You're more so in between the 0 and 50 range, especially in that first half of the course, than you are in the 50 and 90% of throttle input. And with that, because it's a positive displacement supercharger, you're not getting much more than maybe 4 or 5 pounds of boost. All right here. And this number may not be perfect, because I may not have the calculations right. But this is the height of the first half of the course at 7. And then it's not till the back half of the course, which was a little bit more flowing, that we're getting spikes into the 9s and 7s. Right there, 9, but then it dives back down. So what I'm thinking is probably need to get the engagement point of the water spray to be lower. Maybe somewhere in the 2 to 3 pound range, and then 100% by about the 7 pound range. And that may be something that I do for autocross setups, but for street driving or a larger track driving, we would have to back that down and make it maybe like a 5 and 10 to full. So 5 start, 10 full. As far as the engine data goes, that's probably the most interesting and useful information we can get from this one, is that we might need some more tuning on the old water injection system. But an interesting thing that I saw on the driving standpoint, number 5 was by far the quickest run. That was the one time that I got down into the 39s. Look at the lateral force of that run versus every other run. It's pretty significantly lower in its spikes. So although we hit 1.4 on multiple occasions there, in this run, the fastest run, I don't think I ever saw anything more than like 1.2. Yeah, 1.2 right there. So really a perfect graphical representation of how smoother can be much faster in autocross. That is the way to go. And I think that ends up being the turn right before the turnaround. So the two cones before the turnaround, where I was keeping a more even line through there instead of a real sharp turn to get ready for the turnaround. Throughout the whole event, you can see there was a significant struggling to find a grip. These tires are very bad, and with this surface that you can see is very bad, it was not a great combination. But overall, I was pretty pleased with the times I was putting in. We're about maybe a second and a half to 2 seconds behind the fastest cars in class, which is a gap that I feel we can close in on with the improvement of better tires, and there's still a hell of a lot of improvement we can do suspension-wise and in other places with the car. So overall, it was an encouraging event and lots of stuff to look at. Number one, though, is getting this engine running, getting the supercharger and everything running perfectly, smoothly, not having to worry about it at all, and then we can really focus on the other stuff. So a little bit of tuning to do for the water injection, and I think we'll be making some good headway.